The thing that's interesting about this book is that unlike the red pill thing, it's identifying a problem. Just as red pill philosophy and sphere has also identified a problem, but the solutions that the book offers, and we haven't even gotten into the solutions part of the book yet, but just from how he's laying out and explaining the problem, my thought is that it's not going to be anywhere near as cringe as the red pill. The red pill, my issue with it is that a lot of them get up there, they're like, oh, men this, men that, and some of it's true. And the solution is like, okay, the solution is either this: we chase materialism, or the conclusion is feminists suck, women suck, they shouldn't be out hurting us. Let's get back on the horse. And I'm like,
yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah. And make it like we have to have a hybrid model to survive in the West. And the hybrid model, I mean, is like we have to have a hybrid model of like Western, back home, and like infusing it all with Islam and working. What I mean by that's like, I think that like if we can't make ends meet, a model that we just have to be culturally used to in our communities, I think we should support young people, for instance, living with their parents. Mm-hmm. Like if you get married young, live with your freaking parents, live in their basement, renovate their basement, and you or your wife work and save up. 1, 2, 3. Welcome. Salam. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon you to episode 37 of the Thoughtful Banter podcast. I am Matty with my co-host Hussein.
Yes, sir.
And you know, this episode a little fire today. We got the fire extinguisher just in case I lit this room on fire. So, but welcome to the episode. 37. Can't believe we made it this far. We're only going to go further. We're going to record these until we die, most likely. Hussein.
Hopefully not that long. TBH.
For real? We're already burnt out? That'll be fire, bro. Can you read us?
When I die, bro. But anyways, continue.
That depends on when you die. Can you read us a Patreon, Hussein?
Yes. So we got the Ronin. We got Zero.
Shout out to Reza. The Ronin is a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Deadman, Ali, Ahmed, Latifa, Ali, T-Jam, Justin, Muhammad. Thank you guys so much. Our loyal patrons.
You special. I appreciate you. Yeah, we should do Khalid was telling me about like how I'm too good at doing impressions to like not be monetizing it. I was thinking like just how I should have patrons, like I should shout out patrons like a voice they want me to do. Like shout them out as Conor McGregor or something.
Do it right now.
Who do you want me to shout out in that voice? Ronan?
Here.
I'll do Ronan and Andrew Tate's voice.
Okay.
My brother Ronan Akira. You are an alpha male. I appreciate you for subscribing. Becoming an alpha male and crushing these betas that are busy watching other podcasts that aren't thoughtful banter.
Now what? Now do Muhammad and Jordan Peterson.
It really depends on what you say. It is Muhammad, isn't it? But Muhammad, I appreciate you subscribing to the show. It truly means a tremendous amount to me. Just you think it's only $5 or $10, but what is $5 or $10? What is monetary value?
All right, that was okay.
That was okay. Yeah.
Last one. Do Justin, Conor McGregor.
Shout out to me, boy Justin. You know, Justin Mashuf, he's always there. He's always in the corner. He's telling us what to do. He's telling us he's going to be there. And I throw a jab and I throw an uppercut. You know, Justin is always there. He's always carefully analyzing and supporting us monetarily. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the tone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed that silly digression. Oh my God. All right. So what we got on the docket for this episode, Mac?
You know, we never know. It's always off the dome. But I think we should follow up on the last conversation we had 2 weeks ago. And maybe if you're okay, you can tell us what you've been up to the last 2 weeks. You guys know, like, we didn't upload for 2 weeks because Hussein had to take a hiatus. He went on a dope trip. But in the meantime, you know, we had a conversation about our goals. And a lot of people were asking us about, like, a lot of people actually gave feedback saying that it was interesting. A couple people told me that they actually liked hearing about our goals, so I actually wanted to follow up with it. Last week, you know, we're just talking about us trying to become rich and act like we don't know nobody.
Basically.
Not that, but like jokes aside, like we have a lot of ambitions, and a lot of my goals are around like social media and content creation, and like I really feel like it's something that can benefit not just me but so many Muslims in the space. I feel like the social media thing is like one of the latest greatest inventions that Muslims need to be utilizing. And I know it comes with like a lot of downsides, but also it's just a tool, right? So it comes with pros and cons, depends on how you use it. Anyways, I have a plan for myself that I want to share with you guys, and inshallah, I'm going to stick to the plan. Inshallah, it works. But the plan for myself is basically as follows. So every Monday, I plan to release an article on my website. And every day of the week for the next, I think, 22 days, I'm going to be releasing a reel to my Instagram. And my reels will be promoting my article. And my article will just be bringing people to my website domain. And all of that is to bring traffic to just Mahdi Films in general. Mm-hmm. But it also is going to be pushing traffic towards Thoughtful Banter. And Thoughtful Banter will push traffic to it. And the content I'm making is content that I'm genuinely interested in. But it's basically towards Muslims who are also interested in self-improvement. And the reason for that is because I'm building like a product that help Muslims who are interested in self-improvement. It's like a digital product. And my goal is to like build up this momentum. One, just to see like if this is a good strategy to build a following online. And then two is like, as I'm building the strategy, I'm building the product to sell to my product base. So I'm building a digital product right now that inshallah it's going to be like really affordable. And I hope has like a ton of value for Muslims who are into self-improvement. And that's just like my model for like this plan. And I think like a lot of people know like they need to build content, right? But it's like, how do you schedule it? I think you need to build content very consistently, but I'm not making it real every day. What I'm doing is I'm spending Saturdays just recording a ton of footage, and then Sundays editing. And then I have it already made for the week.
Yeah, I actually drew a little triangle, so we're like it's like a pyramid, if you will. We're trying to run a pyramid scheme.
Essentially.
It's not true, but as far as what most people understand when they hear pyramid scheme, but basically have an interaction and relation between all of our accounts and all of the things that we're doing that kind of feed into Thoughtful Banter, and then Thoughtful Banter kind of also feeds into them. So it's kind of this nice like circle. It's more like a circle than a triangle, but the triangle pyramid scheme was just funny, so I had to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like the way it looks, right, is like if you're making content, if you're trying to build a business that's like personal brand based, you need to be making content. And I'm actually helping out my wife with this because a lot of people think, but like, what should I make? And like, I don't know what to make. And it's like, if you struggle with what you should make, I think that probably indicates you're not exactly sure what your goal is. You know, because once you know what your goal is, it's kind of easy what to make. And my goal is to help out people who are similar to me. So I just think about my problems, and then I think about creating a solution for my problem, which is the digital product I'm working on. And in the meantime, I'm trying to build a following to bring people to me who might need that product.
Makes sense. Again, we talked about building yourself as the avatar for your consumer, basically.
Yeah.
You are the avatar for your consumer. Anyways, so yeah, as Matty said, there's been like a 2-week or so hiatus from the show because I actually went on a 10-day trip to Michigan, and it was for not business. I wish it was for business.
Pleasure.
It wasn't quite a pleasure either. It was part of I've been a part for the last 3 years of the Mufid Academic Seminary, and basically what it is, it's a program. It's a 3-year program, 3-year part-time program for those interested in Hausa studies. It's supposed to give you kind of like an introductory flavor, a little taste of what it might be like to study Islamic, the Islamic studies in the Hausa. And so we do like a lot of the classical courses, the logic, the usul, the Arabic. So for the first couple of years, it's really just Arabic, honestly. But anyways, so we'd have 2 semesters, fall, spring, just like normal. And then every winter period and every summer period, we'd have these 10-day intensives where we'd meet in person. Anyways, so yeah, I just came back from that. It was really nice. And yeah, I'm currently in the last year, so our final semester was in December, and then at the end of not December, May, the spring semester was our last semester, And then at the end of this December, we have one more research project to turn in, and then that'll be like officially the end of the program. And then from there, we can kind of decide whether we want to continue studying overseas, if we want to do something, if we want to go into academia, so pursue like a master's degree in academia. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different.
What are you gonna do, bro?
I have no idea.
They have like no inkling of like where you see yourself.
I mean, I'd love to just pack up my bags and go.
Yeah,
but life's a little more complicated now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we're in so many different worlds, bro. Like we're trapped between many different worlds.
It'd be like that.
So it's like, what do I prioritize?
Yeah.
That's what happens when you travel, right? It's like you get comfortable in one place and like you make some friends there, and you can like maybe see like how you could live there, and it almost makes life harder because then you never feel like one place is just home. Like if you ever only had one option, it's easier.
Yeah, you can't do everything,
You can't.
As much as you like to. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. I want to do everything, bro. I want to try it all, but like you just got to figure out like what's important, I guess, and like prioritize.
Yeah.
Damn, it sucks. It's painful. It's just the trap of the dunya, bro.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. We're actually part of a interesting club, and we're talking about this book.
What club? Oh, the book club.
Yeah. We keep on the low. The only initiated know about it, but I think it's
invite only,
and not by us even.
Exactly.
I think it's we're talking about this book called Boys and Men.
Of Boys and Men.
Boys and Men.
Let me pull up the whole title because it's actually a nice title. Where is it at? Here we go. So it's called Of Boys and Men: Why the Modern Male is Struggling, Why It Matters, and What to Do About It. I believe this was the last part we got cut off. But anyways, yeah.
Really interesting book. It definitely is related to like this whole common red pill theme that's going on in society right now. It's very interesting. Like I don't know what the future is going to look like because statistically speaking, like women are kicking men's butts academically, and like men are just suffering statistically. Like when it comes to like suicide rates, when it comes to like what they're doing academically, and like men are earning more money now, but like in the future, what's that going to look like if men are just constantly suffering academically? It's like I think the next generation, men are not going to be top earnings.
Yeah, it's also like the author also talks about basically the statistics between women earnings and men's earnings, and he talks about how basically 40% of women are actually out earning men, and where you don't start really seeing a drop off in women's earnings compared to men until they become pregnant,
and then they never recover,
and then they basically never recover
in their careers. Yeah.
So like that. So basically, he shows these graphs, and like basically, men and women's earnings are almost the same. There's like about a 5% difference, and that 5% difference accounts for things like negotiating and stuff like that, which is more like individual based. But after that, so they're pretty much coupled until like mid-30s ish when women start having kids, and then it just drops off a cliff. But anyways, the thing that's interesting about this book is that unlike the red pill thing, it's identifying a problem. Just as red pill philosophy and sphere has also identified a problem, but it's the solutions that the book offers, and we haven't even gotten into the solutions part of the book yet, but just from how he's laying out and explaining the problem, my thought is that it's not going to be anywhere near as cringe as the red pill. The red pill, my issue with it is that a lot of them get up there, they're like, oh, men this, men that, and some of it's true. And the solution is like, okay, the solution is either this: we chase materialism, or the conclusion is feminists suck, women suck, they shouldn't be out earning us. Let's get back on the horse. And I'm like,
yeah,
what in the world?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I'm not a person that's gonna sit here and say that every single thing about feminism is right. Like I don't personally believe that as far as like our Islamic outlook. And of course, there are feminists on the fringe who say like absolutely crazy things. Just like you'll find fringe people who say absolutely crazy things in any group. But whenever I hear, oh, you know, it's only because women are now in the labor market that the man is suffering, it just reminds me of like when white people were complaining about the end of slavery and black people competing with them in the labor market. It's like, oh, they're stealing all our jobs. Like that's just what it reeks of.
It's
to
like
me.
that's like it's like echoing that
Exactly.
sentiment.
And echoing that sentiment. And it's like, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing that women are in the like by itself.
It's not a woman's fault.
By itself, it's not a bad thing that women are in the labor market. You know,
and it's not necessarily like it's not the fault of women. Even if men are suffering, it's not like no one's stealing your job. It's like no one's stealing your. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not your job. It's just there are people competing in the market.
One of the things that one good point that the author makes is he said, obviously, like in terms of school, because as Matthew was talking about, basically women at all levels, for all races, basically are outpacing men in their completion of bachelor's degrees and their success in academia. And one thing the author says is like, it's not as if the system was made for women. Because for a long time women weren't going to school.
Yeah,
the system was made for men, but it wasn't until like the competition came in that we realized that this format is actually geared more towards women's strength.
yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting point, because it's like you said, they're not stealing, they're not here to steal jobs, or you know, it's just the competition has increased and you're behind the 8 ball now.
I think a really interesting point that you know, I don't, again, like I haven't finished a book, and even outside the book, like the book talks about this, and then I have my own thoughts about it, and there's just like this problem I don't know the solution to, but it makes me really, really worried. And it's a problem of if men are seen as the primary earners in our society, and like in our
Can you repeat that? Men are seen as the primary earners.
Men are seen as primary earners, you know, in our own cultures and our current American society. And just like, I think like generally, like I think every country basically, I can't, you know, there's probably one outlier, one or two, but like men are seen as the primary earners, right? And Islam tells us to get married, right? Islam in the Quran says very clearly, get married, and is even instructing slaves to get married, right? But the problem is we live in this like really materialistic society where to earn enough money for you to be a primary earner in America, you basically have to be like one of the top 5 to 10% of earners.
At least where we live.
Where we live.
That's true.
And that by itself that means not every man can be that earner. If you have to be like the top 10% of earners to be the only person working your house, then not every Muslim man in like the DMV area
can.
It's not just our area. It's like, I think even like, unless you're living like in the middle of America, but even then it's like, if people are not needing to earn as much, everything ends up being around the same. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I see.
You earn less money, but things are cheaper.
But a lot cheaper. Like I was talking to, you know, someone about this. You see a lot more single income families. Like I know of a lot more single income families in Houston than I know of here. Like way more.
Okay. So maybe like, yeah, but still it's like things are expensive, right?
Yeah. Where was that going?
Yeah. So the where it's going is like, there's just this deep struggle for men and resources, right? Because it feels like your role as a man is to get resources, but it's getting increasingly difficult to get resources. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's like it's harder and harder for people to get married. But one thing that's holding us back is we have this conception that only men can work and the woman can't work.
Yeah.
And like we have this like idea that the Sharia is the man can only work and the woman shouldn't work. And it's like a really common idea. And it just has really deep cultural roots. And it's like, brother, if the Quran is telling slaves to get married, I'm pretty sure you should still get married, even if with your own income alone, you can't support your family, right?
Am I right? Also, I think it's and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. I think it's a misunderstanding to look at the kind of roles that are outlined for man and wife in the Quran or the Sharia, and understand those as a one size fits all. This is the best way it should be for every person that decides to go on this endeavor, instead of seeing these as like red lines that at the bare minimum should be fulfilled, right? And then once we change our perspective on that and we see them as red lines at the bare minimum should be fulfilled, then we can start modifying and tailoring specific aspects of that marital relationship to our current situations that can actually provide better outcomes for our living of the good life, our living of the religious life, you know? But I think people are so detrimentally stuck up on, you know, the man has to do this, man has to do that. You know, if a woman can't go outside of the house without her husband's permission, a woman can't work, you know, all of these things, we just end up making ourselves miserable.
Yeah. And also it really scares me again. Like, we're outliers in our generation in terms of being married young. But if you look at like statistics, right, where's the world going? Like, people are getting married less and less. People are having less kids. So it's clearly a struggle. Like, we're going to see the impacts of this, and it's going to be really, there's going to be a lot of suffering and pain in the society because there's going to be a couple generations of people who got married way too late, who weren't having kids. And then we're going to look around. There's going to be not enough people. I mean, there's always going to be a lot of Muslims because Muslims just keep having kids, right? So like the next 50 years, 100 years, I think the world's going to be like primarily Muslim, right? But I'm saying like in terms
interesting prediction. Continue.
I mean, like, I guess what I'm saying is like, I know I'm rambling, but it's like I'm trying to be specific like you and not say something like off my dome. But basically, I would just be Mahdi. I think that, bro, we got to get a grip and make it like we have to have a hybrid model to survive in the West. And the hybrid model, I mean, is like we have to have a hybrid model of like Western, back home, and like infusing it all with Islam and working. What I mean by that's like, I think that like if we can't make ends meet, a model that we just have to be culturally used to in our communities, I think we should support young people, for instance, living with their parents. Like, if you get married young, live with your freaking parents, live in their basement, renovate their basement, and you or your wife work and save up. And it's like, that's a hybrid model to me. It's like, I mean, I'm not telling any husband to force your wife to work. You can't do that. I'm not saying that. Like, you can't tell your wife work.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying like if you as a couple can come to this conclusion together, like we are together for the love of Allah. We want to make this life work out. Our plan is financial freedom. How can we meet that end goal? Okay, we live with our parents for this long to save up this much money. That means if we both work full time, we can save this much money and move out. That's a better life for everyone. Versus the man, like, it just seems rough, bro. I don't know.
Bears all the financial responsibility.
All of it, and it's like immediately. And it's like I'm not saying like I think as a man, like, listen, I get it. I hate the idea of like my wife working, for instance. Like, I'm in that one way, I'm very traditional. I don't like it. Not because I don't want to have her own money. It's because I don't want her to have to work. I want to be like the primary caregiver and all that, right? I think that's like really like it's a very natural thing. But you have to have a plan, bro, to make life work. Like, you can't just have a plan to say, I don't want my wife to ever work, but right now I'm not earning enough. Okay, so how are we going to get to A to C? Like, what's B? What's the bridge? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. We're not earning enough money right now. Okay, then we have to take away some things. We have to add in some things. We have to take away some spendings. What's the easiest way to take away your spendings? Live with your parents. If your household isn't too toxic and you can't live with your parents, even though it might suck because everyone wants to have their own place, it might be worth you just living with your parents. And if you and your wife have to work and live with your parents, you can save up enough money. You'll be living humbly. But at the end of the day, bro, I feel like all you need to have is each other. And if that's not enough for each other, then maybe y'all shouldn't be together. I'm serious. Like, and like that's just advice to men too. Like, if you're like looking to get married young and you come across a sister who's just like very materialistic and she's like expecting X, Y, and Z and all that, and like you two being together isn't enough, I wouldn't want that for myself. I wouldn't want that for my friends. So that's how I see it.
Or just standards of living are just extremely different, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
like, it's like, yeah.
And like the woman can have, of course, Islamically, I'm not saying like people always, God, so many Muslims are so dumb, Hussein, because people listen to this right now. I'm being dead serious. People listen to this right now and they just add in things I never said, for instance, right? Like you can always add context. You added that, bro. Like I'm not saying the woman cannot request what she wants. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm not ever like, I can't take away God's rights to her, bro. Those are her rights. Yeah. But it's also your right to say yes or no to marrying her. That's what I'm saying. So you find a young lady and she's nice and religious, but she's super materialistic and she seems out of touch and you can't provide for her the way that she's expecting. Don't marry her, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that simple to me.
Yeah. No, you've been spin.
I tried, bro.
Yeah. I didn't even have anything to say because, that was pretty good. But, yeah, I think basically, there has to be a way for you guys to work within the laws that you've been prescribed to facilitate that good life. And sometimes the red lines of the Sharia aren't enough. And so you have to do some tweak here, some tweak there. Maybe your wife has to work. I know it's supposed to be your money. What is it? Your money's her money. And
yeah.
And her, what is it? What is the saying?
Her money's her money.
No. There's like a say. Anyways, whatever. But her money's her money. Like that's like the cliche like thing that's always said. But sometimes for the sake of the family, maybe both your monies are each other's money. It's not just, oh, my money's my money. I think if you were to have a wife, and and she sees you struggling financially and she's saved up all this money. And then she's like, my money's my money, dog. You got the house, This is all me. That's not good.
That's not good.
That's not good.
And it's like no one's saying, Hussein and I aren't advocating. You don't tell your wife, hey, give me $20K.
Yeah.
But y'all out here are like, I'm seeing these, maybe it's just me, because maybe it's the algorithm, right?
The algorithm.
But I'm seeing Muslims taking things so literally, where it's like too much. Mm-hmm. You have to think common sense. Like you said, the Sharia is meant to be red lines. It means don't cross this barrier. It's not the golden model of this is what you should be like 24/7, right? Like you guys should just be a good couple who communicate. You can't take your wife's money. That's her money. But your wife can give you her money. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying ever ask her for her money. But I'm saying, are y'all a team or not?
And then we should look at obviously the prophetic mold, our imams. How did they interact with their wives? What did they let their wives do? Like all these things. And, Hazrat Khadija was a successful businesswoman.
She bankrolled. she bankrolled Rasulullah.
Basically.
Ummah, bro.
Basically.
Yeah, she was rich.
Yeah, and he wasn't like, no.
My masculinity is hurt. Dude, that's the thing. What I always talk about, dude, there's an ego problem. There's a fat, gross, disgusting ego problem we have with ourselves as men. I don't know what Allah is testing us with this, bro. I don't know if it's that dog, bro. I don't know what it is, but we have an ego problem. I'm like, if Rasulullah isn't too good to accept his wife helping him out with money, but you are, brother. You're not better than my prophet, bro.
No.
You're not better than my prophet.
No, you're absolutely
You know
right.
what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
Like, just be like, I can't. Like, and I used to be like that when I first got married because I was figuring out this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's very funny. Like, Islam, I feel like you don't really know what being a man or being a woman is until you get married. And I think the reason for that is because the distinction Islamically isn't brought up until, like, what we're told what being a man is always what husbands do.
Yeah.
Or being a wife is, right?
Yeah.
So marriage adds the context of, oh, this is me being a man, this is me being a woman. So, like, I was really trying to figure out who I was in terms of, like, okay, how Iranian am I? How American am I? What does Islam say? Like, I used to be like, I would, like, every time taking my wife out, when I say won't let her pay for anything, I mean, like, nothing, bro. I mean, like, if she wants some gum at the gas station, I'm like, don't grab your purse. I got this. Let me get it. And I'll be like, I just thought like it's something I had to do. And like, I still That's like my personality. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I want to do that. But it's like, also, if your wife wants to give you, like, wants to buy something, she can buy something.
Yeah. Yeah. And then even, like, if you look at Imam Ali, Hazrat Fatima, one, she had like a whole piece of land, a thick piece of land that she managed business on, right? So it wasn't like she was always in the house. But even when she was in the house and she was doing work, it wasn't like she had a laundry machine or like, you know, a stove to cook food on. Like, this was actually still very hard work. It wasn't like you're going out there and you have a rug that's dusty. Have you
Yeah.
like, you know, you like put it on a wire, you're beating that joint.
And the dust is coming no matter how hard, no matter how long you're beating it, dust keeps coming out.
No, I don't know exactly if she did that. This is just an example I'm giving, but like about the physicality of work.
Yeah.
Like even when it was housework, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna sit down, put some clothes on in the dryer, and then watch TV and pass the time, or like pop something in a crock pot and like let it sit overnight. Like, that's not how it worked.
Yeah, it was hard work.
It was hard work.
And especially like Lady Fatima, like, you know, even Rasulullah referred to her as like his mother, like
the father of her mother,
the mother of her father. Like the way she I mean, and so she was busy, bro. She was working. She was working hard.
Yeah.
Like, subhanallah.
Thank you guys so much.
This episode is not over. This episode is not over.
Thank you for listening to the 37th episode of Thoughtful Banter.
Your co-host is in me DMs, baby.
Featuring myself and Conor McGregor. Hope you guys enjoy.
Make sure to listen to this episode and give it a 5 stones on Apple Podcast and
follow and support us. Apple Podcast. Patreon.
I actually have something to bring up.
Spotify.
So on Patreon,
yeah,
there's a meme tier.
There's a meme tier
of is it $313?
You put it.
It's like $100. Oh yeah. There's a meme tier for $100 because we actually have a Patreon who gives us that much. So I'm like, meme tier alert. It's called 313 tier. So if you want to be part of our 313, if we hit that tier, we will be quite rich and be able to just make Thoughtful Banter full time. I'm talking, if we hit that tier, I'm thinking you can get like 5 episodes a week. For real.
Yeah.
I'm recording like every day besides the weekend. And I'm paying an editor. So yeah, let us know. We have a lot of changes to Thoughtful Banter. We have a website coming to Thoughtful Banter. If you check out our link tree, we actually have a place where you can submit like requests to be on the show. So I really appreciate it if like people who are actually seriously wanting to come on the show, if y'all can check that out. And just let us know like what you trying to do, because we trying to grow and thrive and get big, bro.
And vibe. And
honestly, dude, I feel like our podcast has got to the point where like I feel like we have around 100 to 200 listeners. Because if you look at our views on our podcast on YouTube, we get like 150, 200 views an episode now. That's kind of crazy.
Very crazy.
That's really like in like just us talking for like an hour, 200 views of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like the podcast is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and better. I just wanted to say thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
We love you, Dean.
We love you, Dean, and like appreciate the support. Like we're gonna be growing together. I'm gonna be growing my personal brand. Hussein might be if he makes some content. Get on him for it. But we appreciate it, man. We're growing. We're thriving. We're doing something, inshallah.
All right. Thank you guys so much. We out.